The buttons have
All
been
the
pushed.
buttons. Don't push my buttons.
Hello, Amy.
Hey, Whitney.
How are ya?
I'm good. We usually say our own names.
We
This
do.
is weird.
Hey, everyone. We're on the hot.
Oh, God. We're off to a great start.
Yeah, I'm sorry, everyone.
Listen, I've been working all day. I got to work at 6:15 a.m. What is wrong with me?
No.
I just really wanted access to the copy machine.
With no one around.
Yes. So
Yeah. Well, good for
that's
you,
where I am
Amy.
in my life.
Amy is an early riser and
I
an
am.
early sleeper. And that's how she lives her life.
That's right, and I make no apologies.
No.
Judge away.
Good for you. Now I'm cold with this fan, but
So-
we'll get hot.
So Brecken's girlfriend came up by last night to give me a birthday present,
Oh.
and she had to bring it to me in bed.
You're like Grandpa
I'm
Joe.
Grandpa Joe. I was mortified. It was like 6 p.m.
I think it's
so
amazing.
embarrassed.
It's
And
amazing.
She gave me the coolest gift. She gave me like this set of 4 pictures that they're the ones where like if you look from one side it's like a Renaissance
yeah.
painting, and from another angle it's like something scary.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
So I hung them up in my classroom, but I could have killed Brecken. I was like, you could have come in and got me up.
You could have told me to put on a
Like,
bra.
I
You have your
so-
blanket up to here.
Oh, it was all the way. It was
people-
already up to there because I had 25 fans on.
Yes.
I was watching Netflix. And
Yes.
I'm like some invalid that like people have to come to my bedside. But Sydney, if you're listening, thank you. I loved my gift, and I'm so sorry you had to see me in that stage.
That's her natural habitat.
It really is.
That's where I want to spend all of my time.
I know, but I've already said to her multiple times, I swear I leave this couch sometimes.
Yeah,
and
and
now
she's
she's like,
like-
you had to go into your bed. God, how do you not have blood clots, lady?
Or bed sores. Can someone come and turn me? Jamie!
I rotate enough. It's fine.
Oh my god. Well,
yeah,
that's
that happened.
that's wonderful. Well, your birthday present for me still isn't in, so maybe by the next time we
That's
record.
okay. Your Christmas present arrived.
Mine's coming from Canada.
I don't know where mine came from, but it's amazing.
It's very slow to arrive, so anywho. Yeah, that's great, Grandpa Joe, Amy.
Thank you.
Well, Brittany's free.
She is.
Woo! If you're new here, I'm a huge Brittany fan. So is Amy. And, we've been freeing Brittany
Forever.
And it's happened, people.
It has happened.
If you haven't listened or watched the Netflix documentary or the one on Hulu, both of them, you really should. It's a human rights issue, people.
It is.
It really is.
And I love that her lawyer was smart enough to only suspend her dad and not end the conservatorship altogether, because then they wouldn't have been able to go back on the books. So smart. Jamie Spears, you're going
down. Prison, baby.
And R. Kelly went down some more.
Yes.
So that was amazing.
I know. Go on down to hell,
Yes.
R. Kelly. That's where you're going.
Yes.
What in the world?
Where
what
you
else?
belong.
Oh my gosh. Well, the apocalypse is officially upon us because Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp are all down. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, what do I
think
do?
a lot of it too is like people are like, it's because of that whistleblower.
Yes.
And I'm like,
It may
who
be.
cares what? Yeah, like,
And it may be.
accountability.
That stuff's messed up.
Yeah.
I read some of those articles. I'm like,
Yeah.
Facebook, how are you helping human traffickers? Gross.
Yeah, come on, people. Just be good.
Zuckerberg,
Human beings.
just
Take your gazillion dollors and
just go
do
away.
some philanthropy.
That's true. That's true.
philanthropic word, not philanthropy.
Do some philanthropying. Do
Listen, it's been a really long day.
It has.
I
It
can't
has.
English right now.
it. Okay. Should we do this?
I guess we should.
Okay.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out which one of mine I should do first.
Oh, okay. Do you have one that's longer than the other?
Always. So
Okay.
I say, allegedly.
All right. I do too.
Okay, so should I start with my longer one?
yeah, start with your longer one, and I'll do my
Okay.
shorter one first.
Of course, this is one that I went through it, decided that I probably should take some stuff out, but I was like, I'll remember to take that out. I'm not going to actually take it out, so this should be great.
We give ourselves a lot of credit around here, you know?
So my story is over the Grim Reaper.
Oh!
And my sources are How Stuff Works, which I
Okay.
don't think I'm going to really refer to them because I feel like Wikipedia actually did a more thorough job.
Okay,
on talking
Wikipedia.
about- So this was more on the origins and stuff of the Grim Reaper.
Okay.
But Wikipedia is like, well, here is the Grim Reaper for every part of the world.
Every
and I'm
single
like, yes,
country.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
And scrolling. What else did I use? And Mysterious Universe. You know, we love some Mysterious Universe.
What if you can hear this fan right now?
I don't know, but it feels great.
It does feel great.
I feel like at BO. Just the hot flashes.
You don't. You look so cute in your paper bag pants. They're so cute.
I had these forever. I think I got them from H&M. I freaking love H&M.
Same.
Oh, God. Now I don't know where Wikipedia begins. So anyways, I'm covering the Grim Reaper. Okay, so let's talk about the origins of the Grim Reaper, shall we?
The origins.
Origins. I just made that word up. I didn't make it up, but I mean, it's not on here. I'm just like... What's it called?
Wordsmith. The people who make words. Freestyling.
Yeah. I'm going to say free balling. That's not it.
Nope, not at all.
I don't know why I'm doing this with my hands.
I don't either.
I'm wearing my bifocals, which I paid extra for the anti-glare.
They're so cute.
So hopefully we'll see if this works. So, let's start with Latin America, shall we?
Oh, let's always.
As is the case in many Romance languages, including French, Portuguese,
English,
Italian, and Romanian.
Isn't one of those.
No. The Spanish word for death, muerta, is a feminine noun. As such, it's common in Spanish-speaking cultures to personify death as a female figure. Which is interesting, because I feel like we don't necessarily ever think of the Grim Reaper as a female.
No.
In Aztec mythology, something that means Queen of Mictlan, the Aztec underworld, ruling over the afterlife with her husband, Mictlantecuhtli.
Her husband?
Yeah, I can't.
I just love that she has a husband.
Other epithets for her include Lady of the Dead, as her role includes keeping watch over the bones of the dead. She was represented with a fleshless body. And with jaw agape to swallow the stars during the day. Man, she's got a lot of jobs.
Fleshless body, I mean, that's just bones, right?
Yeah.
You're a skeleton.
Yeah.
Or does she have muscles? No, I have so many questions. And what's the second part? I was so concerned by that.
And her jaw is agape, so she could swallow the stars during the day.
What?
Yeah. So she presided over ancient festivals of the dead, which evolved from Aztec traditions into the modern Day of the Dead.
Okay.
Which I always find so fascinating. I think Day of the Dead is so cool. Our Holy Lady of the Holy Death is a female deity or folk saint of Mexican folk religion, whose popularity has been growing in Mexico and the United States in recent years. Since the pre-Columbian era, Mexican culture has maintained a certain reverence towards death, as seen in the widespread commemoration of the Day of the Dead. And we both read that. Did you read the book with Caitlin Doherty where she traveled all around the world and observed death rituals?
So
and Mexico
cool.
was like one of my favorites, I feel like, or just all Latin America.
Maybe it was your book or Mandy's book. It was one of your books.
They're much more celebratory. It's not so much
sad.
Wah, wah.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, that's where I would want that to go.
Yeah, for sure. San La Muerta is I'm saying all these way wrong, is a skeletal folk saint venerated in Paraguay, northeast Argentina, and southern Brazil.
Home of Giselle.
Yes. God, Latin America is just so cool. They're just so much more, they just seem more fun.
Well, they are pretty
and they're so beautiful. As a result of internal migration in Argentina since the 1960s, the veneration of Santa La Muerta has been extended to the greater Buenos Aires.
You have hair in your mouth.
I could feel it flowing.
Okay, there it is. You're good.
Listen, pause, time out.
Pause.
So you know I've been having all these issues. I think my house is cursed.
Shut
up. So you know, like a few months ago, my well quit working,
creepy,
and someone had to come out.
Okay.
And then my septic quit working. For those of you who don't live in the country, that's how those of us poop and bathe in the
Well, you don't bathe in
I said my well went out.
She doesn't bathe in
I don't bathe in poop. Not intentionally. And then my air conditioner, was like 5 million things went wrong with that, which happened again last week.
What?
Went out again last week, so they came and had to do something. And now we might just need a whole new system.
No.
And so then I get up yesterday morning and I have no water again.
That's the worst.
It is. So luckily Jamie was home for the weekend. He left last night. And he like YouTubed something and then like went downstairs and banged on something with a screwdriver. We had water. So then he tried calling the drilling company today. He was like, hey, you know, my wife's home all week long. Can you like come
do something?
I think you need to replace a part or something. They're like, well, we can't diagnose it since you fixed it. You shouldn't have fixed it. And he's like, my wife woke me up at 4 a.m. We can't use our toilets. We can't do anything when our well's not working.
Right.
So
Right.
he's like, I was desperate. I YouTubed it and fixed it, but I was not anything permanent.
So they're not coming?
So no, now I just have to wait for the water to go out again and leave it alone, which is so inconvenient.
Gosh.
And the only reason I knew it was out yesterday morning, because again, I was up at 4 a.m. and I went to brush my teeth and nothing. So that was cool. Okay.
There's nothing like the feeling when you turn on your faucet, though, and nothing happens. Because it's not natural.
No. But what are the odds of all these things happening
What
just
have
like
you
in the
bought
last
lately?
few months?
What have you bought in the last few months? If you don't, well, you probably don't know because you've never been to Amy's house, but it's full of weird, creepy things.
Not really anything that I can think of. Nothing's jumping out at me. I bought like this doll head thing, but that's in my classroom. So
and it has water. We'll keep an eye on this. You'll have to update us.
Okay, we'll do.
Next time.
Time in. Didn't they see that Saved by the Bell? Time out?
Yes.
Time in.
I love Saved by the Bell.
Zack attack. So in Haitian voodoo, the Gede, no, not right, are a family of spirits that embody death and fertility.
Oh.
Which is an interesting combo.
Death and birth, though, you know?
Yeah. The most well-known of these spirits is Baron Samedi. So in Asia, Yama was introduced to Chinese mythology through Buddhism. In Chinese, he is known as King Yan, and then they have it written in Chinese.
Which we do not read.
No. Which I do have a kanji symbol on my shoulder, and you were with me when I got it. And you wanted angel wings. And then I'm getting a dolphin. At least I went in and stated what I was getting.
Thank God.
Those were the days.
Yeah, I have a dolphin tramp stamp. It's so embarrassing. People don't always know that. And you know how it's a dolphin jumping out of my butt crack, basically. And with like a sunset. Sunset's gone. Completely gone.
Oh, really?
It has disappeared.
Great.
All the colors are gone. I'm like,
Where
what?
did they go?
I don't know. My body absorbed them? I don't know.
That's really weird.
I often forget that's there. Thank God I didn't get angel wings. I mean, a dolphin's bad enough.
I just remember you and I had been friends super long at that point.
my God.
We were like, let's go get tattoos. I'm like, okay. And I'm super into dreams and dream interpretation, so I got the kanji symbol for dream. And that's what I went in with. And you were like, I think I want angel wings. And then by the time it was your turn, you're like, I think I'm going to go with this dolphin. And then I'm like, well, do I know her well enough to like...
Say that's a dumb idea? I wish you had.
I'm sorry.
It's now a funny thing that
It
like
really
when
is.
people
It's
at
just-
work know I have it. There were some people, I don't remember exactly where I was working at the time, but they like wanted to see it, like dying to see it. I'm like, no, nope, what? No.
Makes you feel way better. I have like I don't know. It would be a tramp stamp if it were centered, but it's off to the side. And I got it in college. It's like a moon and stars. It's very celestial. I'm like, what is...
Do you have any dumb tattoos?
It means nothing. I literally picked it off the wall. At the tattoo
that's
shop.
probably what I did with this thing.
I just went with a bunch of friends.
Hey,
we were still drunk from the night before.
Tattoos. What a life.
Whatever.
Do you have any dumb tattoos?
I don't regret any of them.
No.
I have good stories to go with
It's
all
hilarious.
of them, so
I mean,
great.
half of mine has disappeared. Literally. One day I just happened to be looking back there in like a folding mirror and I'm like, whoa, it's gone.
Oh, I should check out mine then, because I never... What
Yeah.
is like the waistband of your pants?
No, it's higher, but it's like
You-
yellows and
well,
oranges.
Didn't part
and,
of your one on your foot like fall off?
well,
too?
that one, it just peeled
I
off.
think
Like
your
one
body
day.
just like repels tattoos.
Am I touching your toes?
What a weird
Oh.
superpower.
No, yeah, that other one I literally woke up and had peeled it off.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah, anywho.
Which is why I will never get my eyebrows microbladed, because
No.
I would be that person.
Uh-huh.
You hear those horror stories, they get microbladed and their eyebrows just fall off.
Or the lady who has
That's, like,
two
infected.
sets of eyebrows.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
No, thank you. I'll just keep penciling in my
What?
sad little
Same.
1990s eyebrows.
Same here. My bad boys that I just completely paint on.
Well, mine will only grow to here because I had
Same.
really bad. I had stitches. I busted my eye open as a kid, and they just like sewed it together, and now eyebrows will grow.
It's funny. I'll be on Zoom and people are like, "Your eyebrows look so great," and I'm like, "I'm on Zoom. You can't see them in real life, where they're literally painted on my face."
You're like, "Thank you. I've got that filter where I turn myself into a potato, but I appreciate it. Good times."
We're dumb. Anyway.
Okay, moving on with boy, the Grim Reaper's real scary.
Tramp stance.
In Korean mythology, Death's principal figure is the netherworld emissary. Something I can't pronounce, but they shorten it to Saja. He's depicted as a stern and ruthless bureaucrat.
He's the IRS.
Okay, he is. He escorts all, good or evil, from the land of the living to the netherworld when the time comes.
Good or evil, huh?
Oh, and one of the representative names is Ganglum, the Saja who guides the soul to the entrance of the underworld. So you just got like, I'll take you this far, and then I'm going to take you that far.
Whether you're good or bad.
Yeah. He, according to legend, he always carries Gyakapji, the list with the names of the dead written on a red cloth. When he calls the name...
How long is this cloth?
It must be real long. When he calls the name on it 3 times, the soul leaves the body and follows him inevitably.
Ooh.
That's creepy.
Inevitably? I'm sick of following you with a red cloth. Can I just land somewhere?
Could you imagine, like, they're like, I don't know, Caitlin, and here comes Caitlin. And they're like, oh crap, it was actually Keaton. Whoops. Sorry,
bad.
Caitlin. Well, it's inevitable now, Caitlin. Come
Yeah, come on. Follow me for eternity.
Yes. Okay. I'm not going to cover all of these. This is kind of crazy.
It is interesting, though, that every culture has something, you know.
The Latvians named death Veju Mate. I don't know.
Something like that.
But, I can never say this. Lithuanians.
Okay.
It was...
Lithuanians,
that's it. I told you I couldn't
Oh my God, I can't believe I conjured that word up.
It was Giltine, deriving from the word guilty, which means to sting.
Ow! What?
Why you gotta be stinging people? Giltine was viewed as an old, ugly woman with a long blue nose and a deadly poisonous tongue.
Wow, that is oddly specific.
Why is her nose blue?
Oh, what's up with her tongue? Was she like stabbing people with it?
Oh, well, the legend tells that Giltine was young, pretty, and communicative until she was trapped in a coffin for 7 years.
Well, yeah, that would take it out of anyone.
Her sister was the goddess of life and destiny.
So she's
Lema.
Could she not help her out?
Right? Symbolizing the relationship between beginning and end. Like the Scandinavians, they later began using Grim Reaper imagery for death. That still doesn't explain why her nose is blue.
Or why she has a poisonous tongue.
No. Irish mythology features a similar creature known as the Dullahan, whose head would be tucked under his or her arm.
Oh my gosh.
Yuck. Dullahans were not one, but an entire species. The head was said to have large eyes and a smile that could reach the head's ears.
Ew.
Ugh.
Wait, is the head detached under the
It
arm?
says tucked under, so
Probably.
yeah, to me that would be detached.
Gross.
The Dullahan would ride a black horse or a carriage pulled by black horses and stop at the house of someone about to die, call their name, and immediately the person would die.
This is closer to our interpretation.
And they're like, we've got a schedule to keep.
Right now, you're dead.
Yes. The Dullahan did not like being watched, and it was believed that if a Dullahan knew someone was watching them, they would lash that person's eyes with their whip, which was made from a spine. Or they would toss a basin of blood on the person.
Rude. Super rude.
Way rude. Carrie. Which was a sign that the person was next to die.
Quit being an eavesdropper.
Yeah.
Keep it moving.
And definitely don't eavesdrop on the Dullahan.
No. Get whipped in the face with spines. It's like really intense.
I'm thinking, isn't a spine like
a bone?
Yeah, that would be
maybe it's your spinal cord.
Ew.
That seems like
that
it
would
better
be more pliable.
whipping
Yeah, you could whip better with a spinal cord.
Yeah,
for
we
sure.
know.
We do.
We definitely know it.
Because
never
if it was
seen
the-
a spinal cord
The
in my
actual
life.
spine, you'd have to do it more like a bat.
And it just crumble and fall apart. You know?
It's got my spine. Whoops. It's good for one lashing, and then it's done.
Done. We need another one.
She needs some calcium.
She's got osteoporosis.
She does. See? She said drinking that almond milk wouldn't hurt. Clearly, she was wrong. So Gaelic lore also involves this female spirit known as a banshee,
Okay, I've heard that.
who heralds the death of a person by shrieking or keening.
Ooh.
Please don't come shrieking after me.
That makes sense, though. Like, you know, yelling like a banshee.
Yeah. Well, and it makes me think of Ghost. The thing.
Oh, yeah.
Don't they scream?
Yeah, they
Or
do
am I
something.
making that? They,
No,
did, they don't make that sound I just made. That was very inaccurate.
So
It was my banshee scream.
So we're going back through and listening to old episodes for Chris to like edit out all of my excessive cursing. It's not Amy's, it's all me, and putting in funny bleeping. And there's one episode where I do dolphin sounds, and you just reminded me of it.
I mean,
God,
we are multifaceted.
so embarrassing listening back. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
God.
Are you enjoying us re-releasing our old episodes? We are, because we remember nothing about them.
Seriously.
It's just like you.
Yes.
We experience what it's like to be you.
And
listening to us.
I'm just cementing our status as psychopaths as I laugh hysterically at my own jokes.
Hey,
So dumb.
somebody's got to, right?
So freaking dumb. Oh my god. So back to banshees.
Banshees. So the banshee is often described as wearing red or green, usually with long, disheveled hair.
Ooh.
She can appear in a variety of forms, typically that of an ugly, frightful hag.
Oh, great. You know
It's-
what? I'm sick
It's
of
me in my bed
I am
when people bring me gifts. It's great.
Also, I'm sick of men calling us hags.
Yeah.
Okay, our well is out.
Yeah. My hair looks like this because when we finally got water back yesterday, I panic washed it just in case it was out today. And since it was a Sunday, I'm like, I'm just going to let it air dry.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to blow dry
Screw
it. So
it.
now it's just real
It looks
frizzy.
cute. It looks cute.
With
With the patriarchy calling us hags. I'm sick of
That's
that crap.
right. We don't have time for your stupid toxic masculinity. And newsflash, you ain't that great either.
Yeah, but there's
Yeah.
no male counterpart for a hag.
But
which
some
is crap.
stories she chooses to appear young and beautiful.
Oh, okay. See,
No,
she
don't do
chooses.
it. Don't. I would refuse. I'd be like, no, this is my disheveled hair. Suck it.
If you don't like me like
Like
this,
yeah.
you don't get me
And
with
I'm
my
here-
painted on
That's
eyebrows.
right. And I'm here to take you. I'm escorting you through all the gates or whatever
exactly
that was.
right.
The other country. Some tales recount that the creature was actually a ghost,
Okay.
often of a specific murdered woman or a mother who died in childbirth. When several banshees appeared at once, it was said to indicate the death of someone great or holy.
Oh, well, that's not the situation in Ghost
No.
at all.
And why they got to be great? Maybe I just want a bunch of banshees to come so our
They
hair
seem
can
kinda
match.
scary, though. I don't know if I
Yeah,
want.
probably not. I take that back. I rescind my invitation.
I don't know who I want. Just Jesus.
Yes.
Sorry, I just picked you. Can Jesus just come get me? All these things are
Yes,
frightening. Jesus seems chill.
He does. He'd be like, here's some wine.
Did I tell you have I told you I saw Jesus when I was giving birth?
No. How have you left that detail out?
So when I got my epidural, maybe it was before, I don't remember, but I was laying on my side and I'm like in labor, and I just see someone, I don't see their face, but I just see some man walk up to me, and I just saw like Birkenstocks on the ground.
Listen, let's not stereotype Jesus, okay?
I know, and I love Birkenstocks, but like Jesus wore Birkenstock style of shoes, you know, like I just assume like leather situation.
Oh, and I imagine them more of just like something flat, and then it's got like rope.
Well, yeah,
on the
Birkenstocks. Anyway, so I don't remember what he said to me, but he said something, and then he left, and then I was like, Kyle, who's that guy? And he was like, there was no guy. Ooh. Whoa. It was probably just a hallucination.
When I gave birth, I saw my husband faint.
Oh, no. I also saw my anesthesiologist's thong. He was a beautiful man. He had beautiful skin, and he bent over and he had his hot pink thong on, and I was like, all right, give me this epidural.
Get it.
It was the weirdest experience of my life.
It sounds like it.
Anyway.
Well, my birth story involved a C-section. That's all I
And your guts put on a table.
And then they put the baby down by my feet.
Oh my God.
And they have like a sheet hanging up so no one sees. So Jamie's like going to see the baby. And
you're like, what about me?
My insides were on my outside. And he saw them and he fainted.
Yeah.
And then everyone was giving him their attention.
What about me?
My insides are on my outside. And then they had to wheel him out. I had to sit in there and get sewn up alone.
Jamie? God damn
Piece of trash.
I know.
So then when I had the twins and I had a C-section with them, I'm like, you stay right here.
Yes. Up here. Well, the doctor also, why am I telling people this? Forced Kyle to
for the people.
watch
They want to know
my children come out of my vagina, which has got to be the most traumatizing thing of all time. But he can still look me in the face and have a conversation with me.
Okay.
Anyways, we really need to talk about birthing in this country. It's not right.
Yeah, so quit calling us banshees. We've been through it.
Thank you for listening to me maybe talk about that. God.
Okay, shall I?
Yes,
In
please.
Poland, death, Śmierć or Kościusz, has an appearance similar to the Grim Reaper, although its robe was traditionally white instead of black.
Oh.
Because the word Śmierć is feminine in gender, death is frequently portrayed as a skeletal old woman as depicted in 15th century dialogue. I find it interesting that so many of these cultures think of them as a female.
I know, because that's completely
It's kind of cool.
opposite what I have always assumed.
Well, probably because in their religions, women are allowed to, play an important role in anything. Sorry.
Besides having
Back
your
it off.
insides on your outside.
Yes. Morana is a Slavic goddess of wintertime death and rebirth. A figurine of the same name is traditionally created at the end of winter, beginning of spring, and symbolically taken away from villages to be set on fire and or thrown into a river that takes her away from the world of the living.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. We're just throwing figurines in the river.
In the river.
Don't do that.
No.
Please. There is
like biodegradable.
wildlife that lives in that water. Please stop it.
Sea turtle.
Let's see. Let's scroll down to Judaism, perhaps. In
yes.
Hebrew scriptures, death is sometimes personified as a devil or angel of death. In both the book of... I'm not even going to try to pronounce it because that's so rude.
Something in the Torah?
No, I could pronounce Torah. Well, I mean, it might be in the Torah. It's the book of something.
Yeah.
I can pronounce book of Jeremiah.
There we go.
And then something else is mentioned as a deity to whom Yahweh can turn over Judah as punishment for worshiping other gods. The Mimetim are a type of angel from biblical lore associated with the mediation over the lives of the dying.
Oh.
The name is derived from the Hebrew word that means executioners, slayers, or destroyers, and refers to angels that brought about the destruction of those whom the guardian angels no longer protected. Interesting.
Creepy.
I'm just like, my story is so interesting. Okay, so Christianity, and then I'll move on to like some stories, okay? Listen, I enjoy history.
Yes. We do too.
So death is one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse.
Which is now
Book of Revelation.
WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, Messenger. The four horsemen.
The four horsemen of the apocalypse.
Honestly,
They are
though. For real.
Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Richard Branson. There
Yes!
you go.
All white dudes.
All white dudes blowing all their money on space exploration.
Oh my God. Why would you want to go into space? I mean, I love space. I think it's fascinating, but that's really scary.
Yeah, you're not qualified.
No,
for that.
don't take other people either,
No,
please.
It's so irresponsible.
Are there legit astronauts on? When Elon or whoever, or is it Jeff Bezos?
We talked about that. There was like the world's oldest female astronaut. But I don't know if there was.
Is that a good idea either?
Probably not.
She's the Grim Reaper.
They were up there for like 4 minutes or something.
Sorry, I just called her the Grim
whatever.
Reaper.
Well, We wish. So he's also known as the Pale Horseman, whose name is Thanatos. The same as that of the ancient Greek personification of death, and the only one of the horsemen to be named.
Huh. Never
Clearly,
even
I
knew.
don't know much Bibling. Then they just keep quoting the Bible. And keep quoting the Bible.
Revelations.
Yeah.
It gets real.
It does
real
get real.
Scary.
So now I'm going to go on down to stuff. Everyone's like, shut up already. Get with it. So now I'm going to go down to the Mysterious Universe and some bizarre real encounters with the Grim Reaper.
Oh, I don't want to see the Grim Reaper.
Okay, we're good.
You're totally good.
I'm just, whatever.
Go.
It's Mysterious Universe. There.
What? Why are you yelling at us?
Because I'm just going to read straight from it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like, I gave you credit. Back off.
Yeah, we're not pretending like it's our words.
So throughout history and across cultures, there have long been tales of entities signifying the avatar or personification of death itself. These spirits, gods, whatever you want to call them, have taken many forms. But in many Western cultures, this is the distinctive entity of the Grim Reaper. A tall, hooded, shadowy thing with its face concealed and carrying a scythe in many incarnations.
Why is it always carrying a scythe?
I don't know.
It's just
like I'm already
cutting
dead. You
cutting
don't
down
please
wheat.
Yes. Look out! I'm gonna clear a path for you here.
I mean, it's
Dead person. Like, do I need a path clear? Can't I just like
go
float
through it?
Stuff?
Does it? I mean, is it like to cut off heads or I don't know?
I don't know. You only need my head, I guess.
I'm already dead.
Yeah.
It's really strange.
I don't understand.
Just to make it scary, I suppose. Yeah, and you're right. You can't ever see his face. It's just like a void.
It's just a hooded. Yeah.
Weird.
Yet there are many cases of people who claim to have actually come across the specter of death, and they have quite the stories to tell. There are actually a surprising number of accounts of people encountering cloaked entities that seem very much keeping with the image of the literal Grim Reaper in both appearance and behavior. Of course, this entails the entity appearing before a person's death, and sure enough, there are numerous tales of encounters seeming to herald such a tragedy. One such account was given on Live About. I never know if that's Live About or Live About.
What is that?
I've cited it. I've cited it before, and I never know.
I was like, is this some social? Is this like TikTok, and I'm too old to understand it? But
no, it's just a website. Okay. With it's kind of Reddity, but not nearly to that extent. With a witness named Dale R., whose mother passed away in February of 2013, but not before some very strange phenomenon would go down.
Oh.
His mother had been very sick in bed for the better part of a decade with kidney and heart problems.
Oh, gosh.
That's sad. And making things somewhat worse, difficult for the family, was the fact that their house itself seemed to be haunted, with shadowy apparitions spotted in instances of objects moving on their own, and with the odd activity picking up noticeably in the days leading up to the mother's death. Dale says,
Weird.
Isn't that bad enough? Like, you're already there, like, bedridden.
And you can't move, and there's all
this stuff happening. Although this morning I freaked out. I was on my porch drinking coffee at 4:15 a.m.
That is not safe.
I know, but
I heard coyote. I was like laying in bed the other night and heard coyotes.
Oh, I always hear coyotes in the morning and all sorts of just nature going crazy. But which is part of the reason I kind of sit out there, because I'm so worried something's going to get my dog.
Oh,
like a coyote
is she pottying?
Yeah,
she
eats first thing in the morning when I get up. So if it weren't for me, that dog would be dead. But anyway, she goes out, and I just enjoy sitting on my porch because it's going to be weather soon where I can't.
It's
and
nice
anyways,
and cool.
I'm sitting there and I hear something like a garage door opening. And you know where I live. It's pitch black. I'm in the middle, literally in the middle of nowhere. There's no such thing as street lights and stuff. So I'm like, oh God, what is that? And Rowan's barking. And I'm like, get inside. Let's go in. And then after a while, I'm like, well, was someone like in our shed? Is someone robbing us? Maybe I better go back out there.
No, Amy, no. The answer is no. I'm so brave or stupid.
So I went out there and sat, and I'm like, well, I don't hear anything else.
Went out there and
it kind of sounded like an air compressor almost. God. So then Jamie called later to, I don't know, see if we had water, thanks, from your comfy hotel room. And I'm like, something's going on in the shed. It sounded like an air compressor. He's like, oh yeah, I changed Carter's oil in his truck yesterday, and one of his tires was a little low, so I aired it up and forgot to unplug the air compressor. I'm like, Dreamy. Dang it.
I feel like I need to buy you a weapon of some sort.
I mean, I have hot coffee.
Lipstick taser. That's a Despicable Me joke.
Miralax, just like
God. Really? Ew, is that good?
He doesn't have a taste.
Oh, okay.
Listen, my breast cancer meds suck, okay?
She just wants to shadoobie.
My bones and joints hurt. And I
Can't poo.
difficulty pooing sometimes. So anyways, back to dance. So those are that's why I'm bedridden, okay, Sydney? That's why you had to bring me my stuff.
It's because she hasn't
My
pooped in
Miralax
months.
was not working. I was backlogged.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so Dale is telling the story about his,
back to Dale.
this terrible thing.
Sorry,
happening.
Dale and his
Sorry,
poor mom.
Dale. So at night when she was in bed, Mom would see a person walk from the highway in a red
What?
glow until it got to her bedroom.
Wait, what? I'm so confused.
Okay,
How?
so she was in bed. She would see
Okay.
a person walk from the highway. Okay, I'm just
So
like,
weird.
do.
And what is, like, I'm trying to understand what the view out her window
Yeah.
is.
Well, I mean, if I couldn't get out of bed, I'd probably like to be next to a window.
I know, but
not if I live right along a highway. Can you put me in a room?
the lights!
Like away from the highway?
Okay, so it's just doing down the
Walking
road.
down in a red glow
Okay.
until
not
it got
normal.
to her bedroom.
What? Inside or the window?
Well, it would come through the wall
What?
and approach her side of the bed.
No.
Yeah, just like-
No.
Nope.
Nope.
And she's probably, and I just imagine her laying there like,
Oh,
Dale! Dale!
God damn it, Dale!
It's happening again!
I told you not to go out to Walgreens!
Why you coming by the highway, Dale?
Oh my God. Can we move
Can you just put me in the basement?
anywhere else? Oh my
So I had a
God.
long black hat that came
What?
down to a point and glowing red eyes.
Long black hat.
That came down to a point.
I mean, it's a very confusing.
it's like a fedora?
Oh, baby,
so
baby.
so
it's
now
Whitney.
he's a douche, too. Like, no. Stop wearing a fedora.
I'm so confused by that.
Everyone. Just stop.
No, nobody should.
No.
In 2021, nobody should.
And
wear a
unless you
fedora.
are like Kate Beckinsale, you can't get away with the white brimmed hats either.
No.
Stop. Okay. You're welcome.
Wow.
Fashion advice.
Hater. Hating on
Just because I
hats.
look really stupid. And like, I tried
She's
one on Target
projecting
one
on
day. I'm like,
us.
Keaton, what do you think? She's like, get it off.
Well, she's also a teenager.
Yeah.
They
She
hit
was
us
right,
all.
though. It was bad. So on February 2nd, my mom went to the hospital with a high heart rate and low blood pressure. Telltale signs of heart failure. She came back on. She came back on. But
She turned back on. She was off. Now she's on.
2 days later and was all right all that evening. So maybe she came back home. 2
Yes,
days later.
let's go with that.
She had her favorite dinner, watched her programs.
Oh, I love her.
She's me. My brother and I came and spent the night once more. Oh, so they weren't living with her? Who's taking care of her? Dale.
God, you had one job. Seriously.
She's telling you something's cutting through her wall from the highway. She's alone.
It's got a long pointy hat.
Yeah, Dale. Jeez. Then around 3:47 in the morning, she hollered because she saw that entity again. My brother and I went in, but nothing was there. The following morning, my brother picked them up for dialysis.
Them?
But by the time they made it 300 feet from the house, my mother had passed away in the vehicle.
Oh my gosh.
They got her to, so maybe she has a husband.
Yeah.
Maybe he's
or
there.
partner
So
or
there's, or somebody. So they're like taking her to her stuff.
That is crazy.
They got her to Marquette Hospital once more, where the neurologist said she had no brain function and she was gone. Now I think of the creature my brother and I saw at a local cemetery while driving by it one night.
Wait, what?
Dale, you're all over the place. It was large and had tattered cloth on it. It was standing atop a freshly dug grave.
Ew.
Though I know what my brother and I had seen for that split second was the Grim Reaper, I can't figure out what my mother had been seeing all those nights. That!
The Grim Reaper.
Dale.
God.
Jeez.
Ugh. Tattered clothing.
Yes.
Ugh.
Another account comes from the site Encounters with the Unexplained, from a poster who says this happened in the year 2000 and that it gravitated towards his great-grandfather. The man told him about a dream he had had the night before, which would seem in some ways darkly prophetic. The poster says, I have my own story to tell of the Grim Reaper coming to visit a loved one. It was early 2000. My great-grandfather woke one morning to tell us Sorry, I hit the button. Of a dream he had the night before. He said the man with the sickle came for me last night. That immediately sent a chill right through me. He continued by telling... Dang it!
Them. Me.
He continued by telling us that the doorbell rang, and when he opened it, there stood the hooded man with a sickle in his hand. The doorbell?
Ring. He's got the ring bell. He's like, it's me. What the heck?
No.
No, he can come through your wall.
Yeah. And who's opening the door for someone, a hooded person with a sickle in their hand?
Please look through your peephole. Don't just blindly open a door.
I don't even open the door for the mailman.
Me neither.
I leave it on
literally
the step,
drop
buddy.
to the ground and army crawl so no one can see me. That's social anxiety for you.
Clearly, great-grandfather had none. He's like a visitor.
Come in! Love your scythe.
Yes.
Or sickle, or what is it?
Sickle.
What's it different? I don't know.
They're the same.
Okay.
He looked at my great-grandpa and said he was here for Jacob. He said his last name also.
Oh.
When I asked my great-grandpa what he said then, he proceeded to tell us that he told the entity he had the wrong house.
That's next door.
Whoa. There's no Jacob here. I don't know what you're talking about. Was his grandpa's name Jacob or no?
I guess not.
Okay.
Or
was Grandpa like, ha-ha, sucker?
You'll never know.
Yeah.
Well, he's a paranormal entity.
So he slammed the door shut in his face. That caused each of us to let out a giggle or two and set our fears aside for the time being.
Were they there?
Well, he's telling them about this dream he had.
Oh, okay.
We knew it would not be long before we lost him, as he was saying other things relating to the other side.
Oh.
A few months later, Grandpa died at the age of 92, 3 days following my great-grandma.
Oh.
Did this dream have anything to do with the deaths, and was it perhaps more than just a dream? Who knows?
Who's Jacob?
From the site Ranker, we have the account of a woman who claims she had been sick in bed at a hospital, sharing a room with a terminally ill woman who rather disturbingly never spoke or reacted to anyone.
Oh.
However, this would change on the night just before the witness was meant to be discharged from the hospital, when she would awake to a very bizarre experience indeed, of which she reports. I was awakened by a voice in my room. It was a woman's voice, but I couldn't make out what she was saying. I opened my eyes, but there was no one in the room, just me and my roommate, who was incoherent the entire time we shared our room. Assuming it was a nurse in the hall, I tried falling back asleep. Suddenly, there was a loud, frantic voice shouting, "No, you can't take me, I won't go." I opened my eyes again, and the room was much, much darker, and my roommate was sitting straight up in her bed, screaming with complete and utter conviction towards the foot of her bed, almost like a child objecting to bedtime. She was crying, still sitting straight up, looking at something, listening very intently for what seemed like forever. She began to whisper, "Yes," and "no," between whimpers, and then she lay back down, and I watched the darkness leave the room. Was this the literal Grim Reaper? Also from Ranker is a report from a woman calling herself Ashley Dawn, who claims that her grandmother had spoken of seeing apparitions of a hooded figure in the year leading up to her death from pneumonia. Geez, you see the Grim Reaper for a whole year? No!
Oh my God.
Can it be just for 1 second?
Like the day you die.
Yes.
You don't need to come earlier.
You don't even need to come before then.
No.
Just meet me when I'm gone. Meet me at the corner of First and the Elm.
Also, can we talk about the horrors of having to have a roommate in the hospital?
Yeah, no kidding.
That's not okay.
No. But you're lucky to even get a hospital room right now, so take the roommate.
That's true.
Screaming at the Grim Reaper.
Oh my God.
Take what you can get. So her grandma's telling her these stories, and Ashley didn't believe the stories at first. She was just dismissing them as the rantings of an old woman. Rude, Ashley.
Yeah.
That is until she saw something strange herself one evening.
Oh.
The witness explains what happened. I turned and saw it beside my bed. There stood a small, dark figure about 3 feet in height. That's short. Wearing right? That doesn't seem very
it's
scary.
Tiny. It's like that's what my children are.
Wearing a black...
no offense to small people or short people.
Just doesn't seem intimidating.
But that's not tall
that's
either.
What I think of a Grim Reaper seems like really towering.
Yeah. Didn't they say tall though? Something... maybe they said 3 feet tall. Got it.
About 3 feet in height. Wearing a black cloak with a hood, no face, about 2 feet from my face.
What?
It looked like a small Grim Reaper without the blade. It was a trainee.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's an intern.
I was in shock, but not scared. I looked at it for about a minute, then it turned, glided out of my room.
Who's looking at that for a straight 60
that's
seconds?
When you pull the blanket over your head, Ashley. Yes. Get real.
Or you urinate all over yourself.
Oh, and here's where Ashley's real big and bad. I got out of my bed and followed it down the hall to my grandmother's room where it faded away.
No, you didn't, Ashley, you liar.
Eerily enough, the woman would see the same apparition on several occasions, always lurking about her grandmother's room. Oh. And the sightings would stop upon the death of her grandmother. A very harrowing account of the Grim Reaper appearing before death comes from the site Weird Darkness, with a witness named Heather Circle, saying her aunt, Amy, had seen it after spending one whole day looking for her child's sippy cup without success.
What? I'm giving up.
Done. Just take me now.
I'll die.
I'm done.
Parenting will do that to you.
Yes. It started when her husband John was away on a business trip. Cup? It's the only thing they'll drink from. Oh, and I feel your pain, Amy, with John being away on a business trip, leaving you with all the crap to deal with. Amy was awoken one night by a loud thud and the sight of a 7-foot-tall, that's more like it, cloaked apparition that exuded a frigid coldness about it and was surrounded by a stench like rotting meat. That's a sippy cup.
Or rotting milk.
A sippy cup with milk in it, like way later. So gross.
It is Grim Reaper just hands her the rotten.
You just throw it away. You don't even attempt to clean that.
No, it's disposable at that point.
Frozen with pure terror, she tried to scream, but no sound came out. As her eyes adjusted, she could see the creature's face. It had a very small head, about the size of a grapefruit.
What? That's so weird.
A grapefruit like this, it's like the head of Beetlejuice. A little shrunken head.
I don't understand that at all.
On its enormous shoulders.
Is that that?
Yes. Its face was wrinkled and saggy, shriveled like a rotten apple.
Oh, Amy, you just... Girl, parenting's hard. We get it.
Yeah, you're just tired. The eyes were like jet black dimes. Everything's so disproportionate.
I'm still confused about the grapefruit. That's such a weird.
That is such a small
descriptor.
head. It was draped in what my aunt described as an Eskimo's coat, thick with fur lining. In its gloved hand, it held a little pink sippy cup.
What? Looking for this?
Ha ha ha.
That's so weird. No, that's her having horrible dreams.
This is a night terror, Amy.
A parenting night terror about sippy cups.
After a minute of the creature's unsettling stare, it dropped the sippy cup onto the floor and walked away. Like, mic drop. Damn, we done here. When Amy received motion again, so she could move.
Received motion?
She grabbed John's hunting rifle and cautiously cleared the house. It had the size of a grapefruit. You really think that's something you're gonna... You can't shoot that, Amy. Get over yourself.
And a hunting rifle, I mean, it's not like a shotgun.
So she checked the children who were still asleep in their beds and then called her husband and my mother. The next morning, she found the sippy cup and her remote laying in the middle of her hallway. She described to my mother that the creature that visited her felt like death. 2 weeks later, at the age of 25, Amy was diagnosed with terminal cancer.
Oh, my God.
Well, what was it? Why did they have to bring
quickly?
Sippy cup?
Right.
Maybe he was just like, here, I'm going to help you out.
Yeah,
here's the sippy cup.
Very mocking, though. I don't know.
This would become more harrowing still when the witness herself would be visited by this entity in the days after this terrifying experience, as her and her mother struggled to take care of her ailing aunt.
What? She has terminal cancer and she's caring for her ailing aunt?
No. This is the person who was telling the story was telling her aunt's story, so now she has her story.
I'm with you now.
I guess her and her mom maybe moved in to be caretakers.
Got it.
One evening, she says, as she was waiting for her mother out in the car, the beams of her headlights happened to be aimed at her sick aunt's bedroom window. And that was when she saw something she could not explain. The ensuing sequence of events would convince her that her aunt had been telling the truth and that this had been the literal Grim Reaper.
She sees the tiny grapefruit.
Yes. She says,
"Oh, God.
I saw the curtains move." Ugh, I hate moving curtains.
What?
And at the very top portion of the window, I saw a face looking out at me.
What?
I saw a small, wrinkled head with little shark-like eyes.
Ew.
It grinned at me. And then disappeared
Again,
behind the
smiling,
curtains.
not okay.
Yeah.
Scarier than frowning.
Ew. Within seconds of seeing the creature, the car began to shake violently. I'd never been more horrified.
What?
I screamed for my mother. As soon as my mother walked out the front door, the car suddenly stopped. As soon as my mother got into the car, I cried and tried to explain what happened. I couldn't speak right. I stuttered. The words wouldn't flow. As we drove down the street, the car seemed to be pulling from one side of the road to the other. It felt like we had a flat tire. My mother pulled the car over and inspected the wheels. The lug nuts on all the tires were loosened to the point of almost falling off.
Oh my God.
I knew right then that the creature that I saw staring at me through the window did this. It was trying to kill us. At the age of 26, my Aunt Amy passed away.
Oh.
I know now that the creature that visited my aunt and showed itself to me was the Grim Reaper. It's been 20 years since this all happened, but I still find myself thinking about it all the
poor
time.
Kids.
Yeah.
It's so
I'm
sad.
always wondering when I'll see the Grim Reaper again.
Oh my God.
Moving on, we come to an account from Unexplained Mysteries
Yes.
with a poster who says that the Grim Reaper, I keep hitting the stupid keyboard, was witnessed by his sister in the days leading up to the death of his nephew, who had been handicapped and suffering brain damage and a near drowning years before.
Gosh.
He says that the phenomenon started one night when his sister woke up in the middle of the night to the sound of footsteps in the hallway outside her bedroom, which she had presumed to be her visiting half-sister, but there was no response when she called out her name.
Hello, tiny grapefruit head.
Please tell me that's you, Barbara.
Oh my God. It's like that ghost, that guy that sees the footsteps. I can't talk. Shadows of feet outside his door from the haunted Louisiana tour.
Yes. As she waited there in the gloom, wondering who was in the hall, a very frightening experience would unfold, of which he says, an average-sized, my sister estimated him to be around 6 feet tall, being hooded in a black robe entered the room, whispering in an incomprehensible chant, and ending each time with, Mama.
Ooh. No, what? What?
She said that the beings present felt very evil and she was paralyzed with fear. That's interesting that people are like being paralyzed with the fear. The being, interestingly, seemed to glide over the floor, even though she initially heard footsteps. He came around to her side of the bed, continuing to chant, which became louder every time he said it.
No. Oh, God, your face.
I didn't read this.
Your face.
He then took his hand and grabbed my sister's crotch, which hurt badly.
Which hurt
And continued to hurt for a few days afterwards.
Oh, no.
I can't sit here. The Grim Reaper
Sexually assaulted me.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Jeez. She yelled, stop, and the being disappeared.
See, that's not the Grim Reaper.
No,
that's, I don't know.
I don't know what happened there. My sister then ran to check on her kids, who were all sleeping and unharmed. Not for long, though. Within a week's time, my nephew passed away.
Oh, my God.
At first, it seems no one made any connection between the death and the spooky incident.
Okay.
Well, probably because you're worried about, a child has passed.
Yeah.
And it was mostly written off as sleep paralysis, but this notion began to change when he talked with his sister. Upon speaking with her, a person who he describes as a very intelligent, professional, level-headed person, he began to consider that something very strange was going on here, and he says, when my sister first told me this story, the first thing that came to mind was sleep paralysis. However, she insisted she wasn't even asleep, and she was just lying on her bed and didn't even intend on sleeping because she wasn't particularly tired. She has never experienced anything like this before and is not a huge believer in the paranormal. My sister has always been very intelligent, professional, level-headed, no history of mental illness, proneness to hallucinations, delusions, etc. Both of us have been searching for some kind of answer ever since, and neither one of us can come up with much of a conclusion. I then began to consider the possibility of an emotional vision, possibly stemming from the fact that her son hadn't been doing all that well at the time, and her fears and concerns were projected as a visual experience. But she insists that the being with physical considering it grabbed her. At first, she considered the entity to be a demonic hooded figure. It was only after I asked her whether her son died soon before after the experience that I considered the possibility of it being the Grim Reaper. Again, I'm still skeptical that this happened in a physical sense, but it has certainly made a lasting impression on her, and she vehemently denies it being a hallucination, a dream, or sleep paralysis. I do believe her. She's not the type to just make things like this up, but we're both still searching for answers on what this could have been.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like...
That is creepy.
That is... Ugh.
I mean, that
like,
takes
and there's
it
so
to
many things happening.
That takes it to a whole nother
It's
level.
chanting, it's saying mama, it grabs
your
her.
crotch. I mean,
no.
when it's weird, okay.
I mean, thank God when she yelled, stopped, it disappeared.
But it's just, okay, so that's horrifying. But then it makes you think, too, her child died. Her child came from her body. Like, all these weird connections. I don't know. That is bizarre.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, the whole sleep paralysis thing is so interesting, too, because... Do you know, I've never had, well, you know, I've had sleep paralysis. But I knew I was asleep when I had it.
Yeah.
You know, I knew I was having a dream. And I didn't think at any time that I was awake. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Weird.
All right. Should I stop? I've got a couple more.
Go for it.
Okay.
These are fascinating.
So there's a commenter on David's Musings. Never been there, but I may need to check it out. Who says the Grim Reaper has followed him around to appear and herald death on a couple of occasions. Yikes. Please stop.
God.
The first came when he was just 8 years old.
Oh,
and he was on a field trip to SeaWorld.
What?
He'd been having fun with his classmates, enjoying the pleasant day out, when he found himself needing a bathroom break. This is where he would have his first experience with the omen of death.
What?
He says, in those days, you did nothing without a teacher's permission. I don't know how it is today.
Same?
I mean, yeah, you're not going to just disappear.
At 8?
At 8 and at SeaWorld on a field trip. And back then, you asked for permission, even for a bathroom break. We need
to know where you are.
Where you are. This is.
Have you been taken?
Very dangerous situations. Even when you're at school, teachers need to know where you are in case there's like an intruder or something happening.
Or an earthquake.
Yeah. I first looked for my teacher, Mrs. Gromsley. Not sure on the spelling. It's been many years. Okay.
Props to Mrs. Gromsley.
Yeah. She was sitting on a park bench with another teacher and a man wearing a long grayish suit. I thought it was odd since it was the middle of September and was probably 93 degrees in the shade. I tentatively went to where she was and asked to go to the bathroom. I looked at the man. His skin was chalk white and stared at me with these deep black bags around his eyes. He was also quite bald.
Okay.
Not just bald, but quite bald.
bald.
I looked at him, then asked Mrs. Gromsley for permission to go to the bathroom. She immediately smiled, looked to her left to see what I was looking at, and told me to go to the bathroom. I thought it odd she didn't introduce me to the man. But I went to the bathroom. He's quite bald.
Go ahead and go to the bathroom. By the way.
Yes. After washing my hands, I went outside to a commotion going on. One of the teachers was screaming. Several other teachers were around the bench where Mrs. Gromsley and the other teacher had been sitting. Mrs. Gromsley had collapsed. Eek! She was laying on the ground motionless, and one of the other teachers was pushing on her chest. A teacher apparently had found a payphone, no such thing as cell phones in 1959.
Whoa!
And told the operator an ambulance was needed immediately at the park. About 30 minutes later, an ambulance did finally arrive.
Great timing. What?
Jeez. People vote yes on tax increases for ambulance districts, please. But it was too late.
It's literally pennies.
Yes. But it was too late for Mrs. Gromsley. I found out later from my mother that my beloved gray-haired third grade teacher died of a heart attack.
Oh, gosh.
That's sad.
And so creepy that it's just like sitting there
saw
waiting.
That, and he's like looking, and she looks like, what are you looking at?
Yeah. And it's just waiting for you with its quite bald head.
Yes. And
just
bags
waiting.
Under its eyes. It's
Why
like,
is it
I've been waiting so long?
Tired. I'm overworked. I've been clocked in 50 hours this week. Weird.
I was not sure.
Why can't it be something nice?
Yeah.
Like, cute.
Yes. I was not sure what death meant at 8 years old. I just knew Mrs. Gromsley would not be teaching me any longer. Several days after my teacher's funeral, I asked the other teacher, whose name escapes me, Who was the bald-headed man sitting next to Miss Gormley on the park bench? She looked at me with puzzlement. There was no man sitting next to Mrs. Gormley in the park, David, said the teacher. I insisted there was a man seated next to Mrs. Gormley, and he stared at me the entire time I was there. She told me I had to be mistaken, that the death of my teacher had me seeing things. I insisted this was not the case.
Believe children.
Yes. The teacher dismissed my statement. I asked several other people who were near Mrs. Gormley and the other teacher that day. No one saw any man, nothing. Only I saw him. I told my mother about it, and she just hugged me. No one believed me. I know what I saw. Grim Reaper, you tell me. The very same witness claims to have seen the Grim Reaper the very next year, right around his 9th birthday. Jeez.
Oh my God. Well, he must be some sort of a medium.
Yeah,
or
he's
something.
got like the sixth sense.
Thank God I don't have that.
No kidding. Well, I mean, you did see Jesus.
I'll take Jesus over quite bald guy any day.
Jesus had beautiful
quite
hair.
hairy. Hair on his face, on his head, flowing locks.
Yes. I imagine he looked like Jared Leto. He says he had gone out on a cycling
Not as
trip.
the Joker, though.
No, as Jared Leto currently on his Instagram.
Jesus.
He says he'd gone out on a cycling trip with some friends at the time with a friend he calls Ronnie, along with Ronnie's brother Bill. This kid had a life, man. Going to SeaWorld for a field trip. Cycling.
I didn't even know SeaWorld was a thing in the 50s.
No. At the time, they were making their way to a peaceful waterfall they had been to before, which fed into a creek that was only about 4 feet deep. It was as they were all playing there that the witness says he saw a stranger with blonde hair and a tan-colored shirt and black pants directly behind Bill. He says what happened next. Panicked, I told Ronnie we had to get Bill. There's a man up there. Ronnie looked at me as if I'd lost my mind. It's only Bill. What are you talking about, David? It's not funny, said Ronnie. I started running up there, and so did Ronnie. Bill was still looking at me with that odd smile on his face. The man was still there. Who are you? I asked the man. He only looked at me with an expressionless face. No movement, no blinking of his eyes, no nothing.
And what's he wearing? Like khakis?
Yeah, just like normal sounding. It
Weird.
sounds like normal clothes.
That's even creepier almost.
Now both Bill and Ronnie looked at me as if I completely lost it. David, this isn't funny. Stop it, said Ronnie.
He's talking to the air.
God, why did you have to invite David?
He's such a
so
weirdo.
Annoying, Bill. Or Ronnie, or whoever his friend with. As Ronnie stepped toward Bill, he must have stepped on one of the many slippery flat rocks in the creek. Ronnie lost his balance and fell over the waterfall into the creek below.
Oh my gosh.
Both Bill and I roared with laughter. Oh. No, check on him.
The 50s, what a time.
Yeah. Neither one of us thought for a minute Ronnie had hurt himself, but Ronnie had hurt himself. When we got down from the top of the waterfall to the creek below, Ronnie was face down in the water.
Oh my gosh.
I pulled him up and discovered he was not breathing. He also had blood pouring from the left side of his head.
Oh.
I screamed to Bill to go get help at the Holloway residence, about a half mile from us. Bill took off on his bike, crying as hard as he could.
Okay.
I lifted Ronnie up and got him in a sitting position.
This guy's like a hero.
Yeah, he was 9. This got him to breathing again.
What?
I had 2 blue towels that I brought with me.
What?
Both were blood red. Quickly, as I tried wrapping them around Ronnie's head. As I was doing this, I noticed the blonde-haired man in tan shirt was only about 10 feet away from us.
Ew!
Why don't you help me? I asked frantically. He once again just stared motionless at me. I was only 9 years old, but I knew some choice words, and I used them against this man.
Yeah.
It had no effect on him. Finally, the man did make a move. He looked to his left, looked back at me, and disappeared into the forest. Almost immediately, Bill and Mr. Holloway showed up in his pickup truck. We took Ronnie to the hospital with him bleeding all over us. Ronnie stopped breathing as soon as we got to the hospital. None of the doctors could revive him. A fractured skull usually meant death in 1960. Plus, Ronnie had lost a lot of blood. It was a miracle he lasted as long as he did. So wait a minute, though. If they hadn't seen the Grim Reaper and went up to where it was, would they have even been... So is the Grim Reaper... Does he have like a quota? Like, that's not cool.
And why is he wearing khakis like Dwight Schrute?
Yeah.
So confused.
Okay, so here's Mysterious Universe wrapping it up.
Okay.
So what are we dealing with in cases such as these? Are these instances of encountering the actual personification of death itself? Is it just the actual... Or is it just the imagination, hallucination, sleep paralysis, or something else, all mixed with strange coincidences? One theory as to such sightings could be that these are entities of an interdimensional nature, taking the form of what we expect to see, in this case, the angel of death. In this scenario, there are specters that have seeped over from other parallel realms to somehow trick us for some inscrutable purpose we may never understand. Is that what's going on here? Or is there perhaps a real grim reaper waiting in the shadows for us to die? There is no way at all to know, and such cases remain mere spooky curiosities for out of consideration and pondering, and a testament to the old age belief in the very avatar of death itself.
I will take that khaki guy over the quiet bald guy.
Yeah, for sure. Or a grapefruit head. Grapefruit head, go back from which you can't come.
I will take that khaki guy.
Yes.
Yikes.
So that was the
That's
Grim
horrifying, Amy. I don't like that
I
at
just
all.
clicked my screen off of the iPad right in the microphone. Good.
Okay. Good.
Sorry, that was long.
It was so good though. All right, I'm up. Yeah. I'm doing the life and afterlife of Marilyn Monroe.
Ooh.
And her ghost. And this has some timely updates.
Okay.
Which is interesting. Trigger warning, possible alleged suicide. Just throwing it out there. My sources today: The History Channel, Daily Record, Daily Mail, Wikipedia, The Mirror, CreepyLA.com, and Exp1.com. Don't know what
so many sources.
All the sources.
You said you took it serious.
I did. I've been phoning it in, people, because
handwritten notes.
I've been struggling, but I didn't phone it in this week. I've been working diligently. I used up half the spin. Okay. On August 4th, 1962, in Los Angeles, California, 36-year-old Marilyn Monroe, I didn't realize she was only 36. I mean, that's so young.
Yeah.
Was found dead in her home. Speculation began that the star had taken her own life. She was discovered in the early morning hours by her housekeeper, Eunice Murray. Eunice woke up at 3:30 a.m. because she was worried about Marilyn. I think she lived with her, too.
Okay.
So she walked up to her door. The door was locked. So she's trying the door. She could see that there was light on underneath the door. And she could see her phone cord going under the door. The good old days.
Yeah, back when they were so long.
Yes, the cord was 30.
You could walk from room to room.
Right. So who knows where that phone cord began, but it was in her room. So Eunice immediately called Dr. Greenson, Marilyn's psychiatrist, who came to the house, broke a window, and found Marilyn dead. She was naked on her bed, face down, clutching her phone, and there were pill bottles around the room. So super sad. So reports claim that Marilyn had previously discussed suicide with one of her co-stars, Janine Carmen, from the movie Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. And during that conversation, she allegedly said that if she ever were to take her own life, she would dress in a white nightgown on a white bed with white sheets and white comforter, just pure white, have her hair and makeup done, and then she'd take an overdose of pills and go to sleep, but that she'd also make sure she called a friend to come and make sure that her and the room were in order. Okay. So that's definitely not how she was found.
No, for sure not.
So, she obviously, there's tons of speculation and obviously not even speculation that she suffered from all kinds of mental illness like many of us do. This is the 50s though, so isn't it? Or the 60s. This is the 60s. So
a lot of stigma.
And, her even talking about suicide with a co-star was oh my gosh, what? But it just makes you think that if that's how she wanted to go, that's not what it looked like.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Yep. It's also reported that a crumpled piece of paper was found amidst Marilyn's sheets and that it was the phone number for the White House. I'd never heard that. So it was determined that she had called JFK before her death, but he was vacationing in Cape Cod. So I guess somehow they traced the phone call, her last phone call, and it was the White House, which I didn't know that either. She obviously had rumors of affair. There were rumors of affairs with JFK and RFK.
Right.
But who knows, right? So 4 days after her death, her funeral took place, which was organized by Joe DiMaggio, her ex-husband. Yes. So that's really beautiful. Only 30 of her closest friends were invited. So it's the article I read said it was kind of like a snub to Hollywood, screw all of you. You didn't give her the respect she needed.
No.
30 of her closest friends. So she was buried in the Westwood Memorial Park, and listen to this. Joe DiMaggio organized for red roses to be placed on her grave 3 times a week for the next 20 years.
Aww.
I know, oh God.
Yeah, I've watched some stuff about them, and I think he really did. He just wasn't into the whole Hollywood thing. You know, he just...
And I mean, she was the epitome of...
She was a sex symbol. And, you know, I mean, it just...
The most famous person on the planet, you know. So, crazy.
That had to be tough.
Yeah.
And I think she genuinely really loved him, too.
She's a complicated person, you know. So, obvious conspiracy theories abound about her death, like that her death was orchestrated by JFK or RFK, or both, because they didn't want the alleged affairs to come to light, and that she maybe had government secrets that she was gathering, which I'm like, okay, that seems a little extreme.
I've heard that theory, though.
She's like keeping a journal about UFOs. Yes. I don't know, had Area 51 happened yet? I don't know. Anyway, why do we do this to ourselves?
I don't know either.
But it was determined that Robert Kennedy was in LA during the time of her death, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
2 decades after Marilyn's death, Eunice came forward and said that Robert Kennedy, who then was the Attorney General of the United States, had visited Marilyn the night of her death, and that they had fought. So Eunice came forward and said that. And of course, Robert's like, no, it's not true. It's like, okay, anyway.
Yeah, well, and he is a Kennedy, and she's a housekeeper or whatever,
right,
so I'm sure they're not going to listen to her.
Exactly.
I believe you, Eunice.
Yeah, Eunice.
You got no dog in the fight. Why would you lie?
Right, like, really. Okay, so that's all the things about her death, right? Here's where it starts to get really weird.
Okay.
So a Marilyn Monroe lookalike named Jasmine Criswell, who's 25.
Not Anna Nicole Smith.
Right?
I thought that's where you were maybe going.
No, she's from the UK, bought and now lives in Marilyn Monroe's LA mansion.
Oh.
Yes. I'm going to show you a picture of her. It's bizarre. Right?
Like did she try to be a Marilyn
Oh, yes.
Monroe?
It's her job.
Okay.
It's literally her job. Oh, God. Where'd it go?
She must make a lot of money.
What is this crap? Daily Mail? Okay. Here we go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's like a couple $1 million. So here she is. I mean,
yeah, she does look
She
like
looks
her.
a lot like her.
Yeah.
She's on TikTok.
Okay.
And she goes on there. She has a TikTok account. Actually, I should just read my notes because it's in here. Okay, so Marilyn's house was built in 1938. It's like around 3,300 square feet. She's got a grotto pool, which I'm like, I don't know what that means, but it sounds like there's a cave and it's like really fancy.
Wasn't that what they have like at the Playboy
Yes.
Mansion? Okay.
So
my pop culture references are great.
So Jasmine, this lookalike, again, like I said, lives in Marilyn's mansion, and she's on TikTok and claims to have paranormal experiences in the house, and like goes on TikTok and talks about it, such as hearing weird voices, hearing footsteps, and then guests have felt a presence hugging them.
Oh,
I know, which I'm like, is it Marilyn? Because okay, but creepy.
Still, I don't want to. No, I don't want real people hugging me that I can see. I don't need something I can't see.
Right. So Jasmine had a psychic come to the house, and the psychic said that the house is being haunted by Marilyn and Joe DiMaggio.
Oh.
Okay. So Jasmine's got 616,000 Instagram followers. So
we hope to be you someday, Jasmine. We ain't even close.
I mean, really, Google her. I mean, she does like photo shoots as Marilyn Monroe. It's very interesting. So Jasmine and her husband have tried to debunk the phenomena by trying to replicate the sounds that they're hearing. So I guess this house is near a road, so they try to replicate like driving by, and is that kind of the sound we're hearing, or animals, or blah blah blah.
Well, good for them though for trying to debunk it and not just being like, oh, it's Marilyn's ghost.
It's definitely her in this house. So here's some really weird stuff though. So when Jasmine and her husband bought the house, she claims that it had original light fixtures, which, okay, all right. Original art from Marilyn was still there. Original bathtubs and tiling, and towels from when Marilyn lived there. I'm like, how would you know?
Yeah.
But, okay.
Unless
weird.
you saw photos, I guess.
Maybe. It's bizarre. Maybe they had like her monogram or something on them. But that's pretty common. MM.
It's super cool when houses... Like, you ever watch some of those real estate shows where they go into, like, a house that's basically just been, like,
left.
An old couple have lived there their whole entire life, and so it's just still got, like, the 1950s kitchen. And it's, like, so cool. If you ever buy a house like that, don't gut the kitchen.
No,
Leave
it's
it.
cool.
It's really cool.
And some of those places, like, stuff is left there. Like, so they also had a magazine from 1950 that Marilyn had highlighted stuff in. I know, not highlighted, but she had like underlined things. You can Google it and see
How
this.
did this stuff get left there, though? You would think like the previous owners would have sold it, or
I don't know. I mean,
that's
maybe
crazy.
Jasmine's making all this up. That's also possible. But she has a magazine from 1953. And there is a spot in the house where Marilyn had wrote her name on the ceiling. Which again, maybe, who knows, maybe it's not her, but anyway. Sidebar, when I was looking up stories to do, I was Googling the Los Feliz murder house in Los Angeles just to see if there was like haunted stuff from there. And that house is like what we were just discussing, where they literally, like, the people died and then all their crap was just left there in the house, and was like that for like a long time, which is so creepy and just weird. Okay.
And cool, though.
And very cool. Okay, so that's that part. So where are other places that Marilyn's been seen around LA? Because there's a lot. The Roosevelt, I almost said hospital, hotel, specifically room 1200. So Marilyn has been known to appear in a full-length mirror that actually used to be in room 1200, but so many people were leaving the room, like getting so afraid, which I'm just like, if you saw Marilyn Monroe, would you be like, ah!
Yeah.
I think I'd just be like, whoa, it's Marilyn. I mean, she's not like a Grim Reaper.
Or is she? Who knows?
I mean, I guess it would be creepy, though, no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, just knowing she's so recognizable, so you know she's dead. So there's no question, that's a ghost.
That's
so that,
straight up ghost.
That's kind of scary, I guess.
So the hotel actually moved that mirror to a hallway, and then I also saw that they moved it then again to like an office, because so many people were seeing stuff in that mirror that they were losing customers.
Oh.
Because people didn't want to sleep in room 1200. Like, they would want to, I guess, and then once they got in there and saw
never mind, just kidding. Get me out.
I know. Yikes. There's also the quote-unquote spare room, which is a bar in the Roosevelt Hotel. And there's like a cocktail lounge and a bowling alley.
Oh, hey.
I'm like, all right, this place sounds pretty cool. They hear whispers down there, laughter, and the mirror. There's again that mirror got moved down there to the bar office, and allegedly that was the same mirror that used to be in her private residence, which I think room 1200 was her private residence at some point. So she spent a lot of time there. Yep.
Which is crazy how like celebrities used to just like go live in hotels.
Well, Lindsay Lohan did for a while.
Yeah.
The Chateau Marmont.
Yes.
Lindsay. You know, she lives in like Saudi Arabia or some Middle Eastern country now.
Oh, does she?
Yeah. It's very interesting.
There was like some reality show on where she like bought a resort or whatever.
Lindsay Lohan did?
Yeah. It was like running it. Did you watch
How did I not watch that?
What was that called?
Oh my God, that sounds right up my alley.
I don't remember what
Okay,
it's
you'll have to
called.
figure it out and text me.
Lohan something, I think.
I love Lindsay Lohan.
And so it was like all the employees that were showing up, and she was
That's
like,
hilarious.
You're representing me here. You've got to do this and this and this. So.
I'm Lindsay Lohan from Mean Girls.
Yes.
Okay, the Hippodrome. What is a Hippodrome? I meant to Google this.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't either. I'm going to Google it really quick because I'm like,
I'm like saying you can't give out my medical advice?
Hippodrome is an ancient Greek stadium for horse racing. Okay, what?
Thunderdome.
Well, apparently there's a Hippodrome on the Santa Monica Pier. That doesn't make sense. It also kind of sounds like it's like a carousel almost or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, don't know. If you know, you could tell us. I don't know. But apparently Marilyn spent some time there. She did a photo shoot. One of her very first photo shoots was on the Santa Monica Pier. And so a lot of times, and she would then, after she became famous, would visit there a lot wearing a disguise. This is, pre-paparazzi where you could actually do that. I mean, how cool to be a celebrity back then, Put on your disguise and go out. I mean, still, though, you still look like Marilyn Monroe. She just has on a scarf.
True.
But legend has it that if you visit the Hippodome late at night and watch the mirrors on the carousel, you'll catch a glimpse of Marilyn sitting on her favorite bench near the gift stand.
Oh.
So as it goes around, you see the mirrors.
Yeah.
It's so creepy.
That is kind of creepy. Like, whoa.
Whoa, there she is.
And then you got to wait until you get all the way back around again.
Is she still there? Oh, my God. So then her grave at Westwood Memorial Cemetery. So there, which, I mean, it's so, I love Hollywood stuff. I'm such a nerd for this.
And if we really do, have the potential of coming back as ghosts, I want to be that kind of ghost. She just gets to go to like all of her favorite places.
I know.
You're not just stuck at like wherever you died.
Yes,
or
repeating.
Whatever. Yeah.
Still cleaning or whatever.
Yes.
Or we see ghosts
Getting
that
all
are
tangled up in your long phone cord.
still cleaning. Yeah. Yeah, poor Eunice, when she died, she's probably going to... Or when she died, because she's probably passed away now. She's just still cleaning Marilyn Monroe's house. So at Westwood Memorial, there are other celebrities buried there, like Heather O'Rourke and Dominique Dunn, both from Poltergeist. Which I'm like, okay. Which is another very interesting whole story. But her ghost, Marilyn's ghost, has been spotted nearby, floating about, and orbs, which are stupid, and I don't think orbs are real, so that's my personal opinion.
I mean, they're real, but they're not orbs.
Yeah, it's like
they're
bug.
Bug or dust.
Yes, it's not real. It's not real ghost.
If that's all you've got for your evidence,
you don't
need a show. Stop.
That's exactly
Seriously.
right. It's so boring.
It really is. It's so disappointing when there's such a build-up. It's like, coming up next.
orb.
Oh my God,
I
what
know.
do we see? And then you're like, oh my God, what they see? And they're like, look, it's an orb. And I'm like, you freaking jerks.
you got to go back to old school OG ghost hunters. There's a few episodes where you literally see things like run in front of their camera.
I've been thinking too about our stay at that B&B. Should we like look into getting some equipment?
Yes, a spirit box.
Something.
We've been talking about getting a spirit box.
We have been.
Well, we had on one of the episodes I listened to, episode 16 or whatever. Yeah, we should. I have an EV. I have a digital voice recorder already.
Yeah.
Do I have an electromagnetic field? I don't think I do. I think it's on my Amazon wish list. Okay, moving on.
Okay, people are like, shut up. We don't.
Should we do that?
Checklist.
Okay, great.
We're doing it. It's happening.
We're doing it. Keaton's gonna pee our pants probably. She'd be so scared.
She'll probably back out.
I'm not going. Like, you're going. Okay, the Beverly Hilton. So some people think that the blonde that's spotted in the penthouse is Marilyn. Allegedly, her and Robert Kennedy were spotted there around the time of her death, which is interesting. Also, Whitney Houston is spotted at the Beverly Hilton. She died there.
Oh.
Is that true? I think that's true.
I do think she was at a hotel, I believe.
So yeah, the Beverly Hilton. Okay, so one last thing about Marilyn Monroe that's interesting is I was just Googling information. Right now on eBay, there is an original X-ray from Marilyn's nasal bones on sale for the bargain price of $9,500.
What a weird
piece
of celebrity memorabilia
but I guess if
to own.
It would be kind of macabre to frame it.
You're going to be like, hey, that's an X-ray of Marilyn Monroe's nose. And people are like, no, it's not.
And it comes with documentation.
Oh, of course it does.
Yeah, I was just like, what? Who's buying that? Like, are people buying them? I mean, like, maybe. Apparently not, because it's still for sale.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's that. That's my story.
All right. Good
Marilyn
job. That
Monroe.
was interesting.
Okay, great.
Yeah, that was a doozy, guys.
Woo!
Back to the long ones.
Oh, yeah.
Now the next one's going to be super short.
No, it's not. My story is very long.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye.